principal slammed the door shut and shouted that I'd been caught cheating on the final exam. The words hit me like a punch to the gut, knocking the breath out of me before I could even form a denial. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, their harsh glow making the sweat on my forehead feel like a confession written in neon. My fingers trembled as I clutched the edge of my desk, the wooden surface rough against my palms, the only solid thing in a room that suddenly felt like it was tilting. It's right here. Mr. Hayes jabbed a finger at the answer sheet on his desk. Your answers match Jake's. Word for word. Same mistakes even. Jake, my best friend since 3rd grade, the guy who'd sat beside me in every class, who'd passed me notes during lectures, who'd laughed with me over stupid memes at lunch. Now he wouldn't even look at me. His jaw was set, his eyes fixed on the floor like I was some stranger he'd never met. I opened my mouth but my throat was too dry. That's impossible, I managed. I didn't. Save it. The principal cut in. The evidence is clear. You'll be suspended pending a review. Suspended. The word echoed in my skull. My parents would kill me. My college applications were due next month. One black mark and everything I worked for could unravel. The bell rang shrill and mocking. My classmates filed out but not before I caught the whispers. Cheater. Knew he was shady. Should have studied like the rest of us. Their voices were knives, each syllable carving away at the person I thought I was. The person who'd pulled all-nighters to get an A-, who'd tutored underclassmen for free, who'd never once considered cutting corners. By lunch the whole school knew. My usual table was empty except for a single, half-eaten sandwich someone had left behind like a peace offering, or a taunt. I sat alone, the plastic seat cold beneath me, the smell of pizza and tater tots from the cafeteria line making my stomach churn. My phone buzzed. A text from my mom. Asterisk heard the news. We need to talk. Asterisk I didn't answer. What could I say? That I was innocent? That it was all a mistake? The words felt hollow even to me. That night I barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes I saw Jake's face, the way his shoulders had hunched like he was bracing for impact. The next morning, I cornered him before first period. You know I didn't cheat, I said, my voice cracking. Tell them. Tell someone. Jake finally met my gaze. His eyes were red-rimmed like he'd been up all night too. I can't, he muttered. My dad's already pissed if I get dragged into this. So you're just going to let them ruin me? The words tasted bitter. After everything? He flinched but didn't answer. That was answer enough. I spent the rest of the day in a daze, moving through classes like a ghost. Then during study hall I noticed something. Jake's notebook was open on his desk, his handwriting scrawled across the page. And there, in the margin, was my name, asterisk Liam asterisk, next to a question we'd both gotten wrong on the test. Not just the same answer, the same wrong answer, the same scratch out, the same hurry correction. My pulse spiked. It wasn't proof of cheating. It was proof of collaboration. We'd studied together the night before, quizzing each other until midnight. Jake must have copied my notes by accident, or I'd copied his. Either way, it wasn't plagiarism. It was a mix-up. I ripped the page from his notebook and stormed to the principal's office. Mr. Hayes took one look at the handwriting, then at Jake's test, then at mine. His frown deepened. This changes things, he admitted. By the end of the day, the suspension was lifted. The announcements clarified the misunderstanding, though the damage to my reputation lingered like a stain. Jake found me at my locker, his hands shoved deep in his pockets. I'm sorry, he said. I should have said something sooner. I wanted to stay mad, but the relief of being believed was too sweet. Yeah, I sighed. You should have. The lesson stuck with me long after the gossip died. Down, trust is fragile, but truth has a way of cutting through the noise. It doesn't always arrive on time, but it arrives. And when it does, it's worth the wait.